Hi guys, welcome back to Keep 'em Original. My name is Aaron, and firstly, I would like to apologize for not picking up a video camera in a very long time to make a video. A lot has changed. I've had lots of projects since then, and in the near future, I'm hoping to bring you guys up to speed on all of them. But for now, I picked up a 1926 Chevy, and I've had a lot of fun working on it, fixing up various parts of it. And I thought it'd be pretty cool to share that, and you guys would enjoy watching the different pieces I've worked on. So without further ado, let's get into it. In the middle of September of last year, this 1926 Chevy popped up on Marketplace for $300. I shot the guy an offer for $500 if he would deliver it to me, and he accepted. This car came out of southern Nebraska, and I believe it has been sitting since around 1950, but I cannot confirm this for sure. When it arrived at my shop, I fell in love with it immediately. Here is an original advertisement for a 1926 Chevy Lando Coupe, meaning it was a soft-top two-door. The engine is stamped with C1826, which means it was cast on March 18th, 1926. You may ask, what makes you sure it's a 1926? Well, it has the 1926 only grille shell, and the 1925 to 26 fenders, and the 1925 to 26 headlight. Okay, here's a video of the 27 Chevy, the new purchase. I kind of got it put together. I'll start in the front. This first video just be exterior, then I'll show you the kind of the mechanical part. But it's got Eaton bumpers, which is like a I believe to be a dealer installed option back in the 20s. They're optional, so that's kind of cool. It's got the very beefy steel wheels. I think someone had been driving it around just on steel for a while because the rears are kind of beat up, but I didn't beat them up any. They were tough. Louvered hood. The hood's really nice. The radiator shell is not the best. Got a crack there, and I think it's missing part of the bottom, but headlights are pretty nice. That fender's pretty beat. This one's not too bad. A cool body by Fisher tag. This door's pretty nice, not rusted out. The visor, that thing's really cool. I didn't realize it had that. It's got the pillars, which are just wired in place because it's wood frame. The 3/4's not bad. I have really most of the original trim. It's kind of bent, but this would have went here on the soft top. Kind of imagine that. Rear fuel tank. This thing doesn't have a fuel pump, but the fuel tank's back here. I'll get to that in a later video. But it says, yeah, you can't, oh, you can, kind of, Superior Chevrolet. This quarter's not too bad. This door's a little rusty at the bottom, but overall it's not bad. Door handles kind of work. The floor would have been wood, so that's all gone. But the dash is decent. I'll get to that in a minute too, but that's pretty much the exterior. Okay, so now we'll dig into the mechanical aspect a little bit. I believe this to be another dealer or early install. It's a locking steering wheel, which is interesting. It's some kind of a early anti-theft device. Here you have your timing advance, ignition timing, and your hand throttle. It would have had a foot throttle too, but that's missing. Ignition switch, speedometer / odometer, oil gauge, and amp meter gauge. Amp meter gauge has seen better days. 3-speed manual transmission. I unhooked the drive line because it's stuck in gear. I'll have to take it apart. The clutch, just your normal clutch. Battery box. This is the rear end, which is pretty advanced for a 20-some, and it's got the mechanical brakes. Only got rear brakes, but that goes from brake pedal to there, which pulls the rods, which make it stop. Under the hood, we have the 171-inch four-cylinder. Makes like 26 horsepower. But this is your fuel pump. There's a line missing from there to there, and it uses vacuum from the intake to suck fuel down, which goes to your carburetor. Has electric starter, generator. The water pump kind of turns, and it's got a really cool honeycomb radiator in it. It says Harrison cooled, so it's kind of neat. The plugs are giant as well. Stick your finger in the plug hole. This side we have our horn. Okay, continuation of mechanical part 2. I believe this is for the heater, like a ductwork. There's a U-joint in there. It's kind of interesting. But that shaft is also structural. It's like a torque tube. It mounts solid to the rear end in there, so it keeps the rear end axle square. Exposed push rods and lifters. Some of them actually move. Distributor. Take this off so we can see the valve train. And there's the exposed valve train. Very good shape. This valve's stuck open, and that's loose. So that suggests that this motor has spun since that valve was stuck. So I don't know if that happened when I took it off the trailer, or if that happened many years ago when it was moved. Who knows? But, and I thought this is kind of neat. Somebody lost the grease caps, so these are soup cans, very old ones. On both sides. That one still has the lid. And the fuel gauge is on the fuel cap. It doesn't work, and the tank is, yeah, it leaves something to be desired. But anyways, spare tire mount. That's about it. I'll be tearing her apart in the next few weeks, probably. See what she looks like. Okay, a little bonus content. That's cylinder 1, and that's the plug that came out of it. So that one looks good. Cylinder 2, there might be a little bit of surface rust on that cylinder wall, but it's not bad at all. See the piston all the way around. And that was that plug. Cylinder 3, same story. No big bubbly flaky rust. There's a bunch of crap down in there, but the cylinder looks fine to me. And the last one, this one's hard to tell. It's at top dead center, but I think that's just crap on top of the piston. The plug looks about the same as the other two. Oh, another cool thing. That right there's the dipstick. It's this teeny tiny little, and it doesn't have a line on it. So how much oil goes in it, I have no idea. Sorry for the terrible camera work, but And you can, there's a main cap. Trying to see if I can, there's the cam, right there. Rod cap, but you can see it looks, no, it's not rusty in there, so that's very good. When I first took the valve cover off, the top of the engine was completely covered in like sticks and stuff that a rat had brought in, and these rags. I believe these rags were put there by somebody back in the day to help the engine oil better, because the top end on these engines does not have pressure lubrication. You have to manually oil it. And I also believe that these rags helped preserve the engine in all the years that it sat. I didn't waste any time getting to work on it. This is only a few days after it arrived at my shop. These cars are very simple to take apart, not a whole lot to them, and they were definitely designed to be worked on. I then removed the rocker arms and push rods and removed the lifters. The lifters were pretty stuck. I had to grab onto the top of them with a vice grip to get them to wiggle out, but they all came out, so that was good. I then elected to pull the motor and transmission together before I did any more work to them. I just decided that that was going to be the easiest way. The next major challenge was separating the engine and transmission. The bell housing was, a rat had completely filled it with just sticks and junk, so it was rusted together. I actually broke the bell housing trying to get it apart on both sides. I eventually ended up having to cut a hole in the top of the bell housing so I could get at the bolts for the clutch and unbolt them, and then I was able to get it apart. Come over here to the Chevy, pulled the head off. This one's cylinder's really good. This cylinder's good. This one is questionable. The piston only comes up to about right there, but it's kind of pitted at the very top. So I'm thinking it's probably runnable, but we'll see. The oil pan, this thing wouldn't have lasted if I wouldn't have tore it down. There's so much sludge down in there, and there's insects that have drowned, and bottom end looks pretty good, honestly. All of the caps are about equally as loose, so I don't think there's really anything wrong there. Clutch, hole I had to cut to get at it, some of that fun stuff. Surface on the flywheel's really nice. Piece I broke, obviously, and the rest of it I got. Lifters up to the push rods and the adjustable rockers. So here's the head. I'm afraid I'm gonna need at least a couple valves, but we'll see. And these next few clips were recorded mainly so I would remember how to put this engine back together, but I figured that I would include them just in case anyone else is in the same boat. Okay, timing marks are lined up. The arrow's pointing at the actual mark. Rod caps are labeled 1 1 1 1 2 2 2 2 3 3 4 4 and 3. The oil pump, 3 there, oil line from there to there. The oilers are there and there. Same side as the dipstick. With it, timing marks lined up, the distributor's pointing at number 2. I'm guessing that holds the distributor, that holds the oil pump in. There's 2 little brass plugs, and that's about it for now. Very important, the oiling holes point toward the lifter side of the block, opposite of the oilers. I then pulled the front pulley off of the engine, and that let me remove the timing cover. Behind the timing cover there are 2 bolts that hold the camshaft in. Once those 2 bolts are out, the camshaft will slide out. And then you have to remove the timing gear from the crank. It's a press fit. And once that's off, you can remove the timing cover backing plate. And then the crankshaft will come out after you have the main caps and rod caps off. The pistons will then follow the crankshaft out the bottom of this engine. That is much easier in this case than dragging them past the rust ridge on the top of the cylinder wall. At this point, it was pretty obvious to me that this engine had been torn apart before. One piston and rod were different than the other 3, and the rings were mismatched between the 4 pistons. The rear main bearing came out of the motor not looking so good. The babbitt on the inner side was very fatigued to the point where it was flaking off. I believe this was caused by moisture that got into the bell housing from all of the mouse nest that was in there. The front main bearing didn't come out looking much better. It showed signs of a strange wear pattern that was caused by the crankshaft being warped. The crank was warped approximately 13,000ths of an inch. The center main bearing is the only thrust bearing in this motor. It was also in the best shape, and it was branded Ring True, made in Detroit on March 28, 1926 on the back of it. This engine uses Babbitt-style rod bearings, which are poured into the connecting rods and then machined out to the size of the crankshaft. It also uses Babbitted main bearings, but these bearings are actual inserts that can be removed. Several of the bearings throughout the motor, there were brass shims between the cap and the block, or the cap and the rod, adjusting the clearances that somebody put in at some point in time. The mains also had brass shims behind the bearings, which would make the bearings tighter as well. Specifically on the rear main, there was also a paper shim that had the small town of Alma, Nebraska on it. I haven't been able to determine what kind of paper this was that was used, but if you know what it is, please let me know in the comments below. This is the rear main journal of the crankshaft. It kind of matches the condition of the rear main bearing, kind of rust pitted. The center main journal was kind of grooved up, and the front main journal of the crankshaft was in reasonably good shape. Hey guys, thanks for watching. This is by far the oldest vehicle I've ever worked on, and the worst conditioned engine I've ever torn apart. Doesn't look great inside. You'll have to tune in to the next video to see what I'm gonna do to make this engine run and see if it's possible to make this car function again without any machine work. So, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.